This is ShadowQuant, Crypto Edition, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Wednesday, May 6, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. Bitcoin is holding at $81,341 after a 0.38% gain, but the market is in extreme fear with the Fear and Greed Index at 14/100. Altcoins like Solana and ICP are surging, while Dogecoin is underperforming. The VIX is at 18.29, signaling heightened volatility. What's the story here? Let's start with the previous episode's calls. Pulse called bearish on Bitcoin with a target of $81,500. The actual price was $81,341. That's a 0.93% miss. Grid said Solana would hit $93, but it closed at $89.08. CIPHER also called bearish on Bitcoin to $81,000, and that's pretty close. SPECTER nailed the same Bitcoin bearish call. Apex didn't make a call. Let's hear from each voice on what they're changing up.
I called bearish on Bitcoin, and I was off by less than 1%. I need to focus more on the interplay between altcoin momentum and Bitcoin dominance. I'll be watching how Solana and ICP affect the broader market.
My Solana call was a bit off, but I still think the technical setup is valid. I'm going to look closer at volume and price action. If Solana breaks above $91.50, I'll be more bullish.
I called bearish on Bitcoin again, and I was pretty close. I need to pay more attention to decentralized finance TVL and protocol activity. It's clear that altcoins are drawing in more flow.
I've been bearish for 5 straight calls, and 3 were wrong. I need to stop defaulting to bearish. I'm going to look more at the macro and see if there's a shift in institutional positioning.
I didn't make a call, but I'm going to focus on connecting the dots between technicals, flows, and sentiment. I'll be more strategic.
Let's set the table. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14, extreme fear. The VIX is at 18.29, which is elevated. Bitcoin is holding at $81,341 with a 0.38% gain. Altcoins are outperforming, with Solana at $89.08, plus 3.2%, and ICP at $3.08, plus 15.33%. The biggest story is the drop in Bitcoin dominance to 58.58%. Let's dive into the news.
The news is heavy on regulatory uncertainty. The U.S. Senate's CBDC ban and the rise in Iranian crypto outflows are both big factors. The market is reacting with fear, and that's showing in the VIX and Fear and Greed.
The sentiment is clearly bearish. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14, and it's been rising over the last 7 days. That's a sign of deepening fear. I think that's the main driver here.
Let's talk about Solana. It's at $89.08, up 3.2%. What's the story?
Solana has broken above $87, which is a key resistance level. The price action is very bullish and the volume is strong. I think the next target is $91.50.
The on-chain data shows that decentralized finance TVL is rising, especially for Solana-based protocols. That's a good sign, but I'm watching for any signs of overbought conditions. The RSI is at 67, which isn't too extreme, but it's getting close.
I agree with the technical setup, but I think the market is overextended. The VIX is at 18.29, and that's still elevated. If the broader market turns, Solana could see a pullback. I'd be careful about chasing the breakout.
What about Bitcoin? It's at $81,341, up 0.38%.
Bitcoin is holding, but it's not showing much strength. The drop in dominance to 58.58% is a red flag. Retail investors are moving into altcoins, which is a sign of risk-off sentiment.
The flow data is mixed. Bitcoin futures demand is at 2024 lows, which suggests institutional caution. but the price is holding. I think the market is waiting for a catalyst, maybe the Fed's rate decision on May 8.
I'm not convinced. The VIX is still high and the broader market is weak. I think Bitcoin is under pressure. If the Fed doesn't cut rates, we could see another drop. I'm still bearish.
Let's move to ICP. It's at $3.08, up 15.33%. Why is it moving?
ICP is breaking out of a long-term consolidation pattern. The price is above $3 and the volume is strong. That's a strong technical signal. I think the next target is $3.50.
The decentralized finance TVL for ICP is rising rapidly, especially with the recent network upgrades. That's driving the price up, but I'm watching for any signs of profit taking. The price is up a lot, so a pullback is possible.
I agree with the technical setup, but I'm still wary. The market is in extreme fear and that could pressure ICP. I think the breakout is real, but it's not a long-term trend. I'd be cautious.
So what's the story here? Grid flagged the technical breakout in Solana, and CIPHER showed that the decentralized finance TVL is rising. SPECTER is still cautious, but the technicals look strong. I think the altcoin momentum is real, but it's not without risks. The key is to watch for the next resistance levels and the VIX.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on Solana. Let's dig into that.
I think the breakout is real, but I'm not convinced it's a long-term trend. The VIX is still high and the broader market is weak. I think the price could pull back after the breakout.
I see the risk, but the technical setup is strong. The price is above $87 and the volume is solid. I think the next target is $91.50.
I agree with Grid. The technicals are strong and the sentiment is shifting toward altcoins. I think the breakout is valid. My 24-hour call. Bitcoin bearish. Target $80,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Solana bullish, target $91.50 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $80,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Solana bearish, target $85 by next session.
So what's the takeaway? The market is in extreme fear, but altcoins like Solana and ICP are showing strength. The debate is about whether the breakout is real or just a short-term rally. Keep an eye on the VIX and the broader market. Tomorrow's focus will be on the Fed's rate decision and the US CPI report. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Crypto Edition. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.